It warned Albion it was responsible for security inside the ground. No one from the club would comment today. Ironically, the match drew the biggest gate of the season, but many believe that brought extremists intent on causing trouble not watching football.
There were indeed one or two people there, a few people there, that were probably not genuine Albion supporters. We identified them fairly early on, and I ensured that officers were very close by those particular people.
Fans have mixed feelings about what happened.
And there was so much trouble. It was so sad. After all these years, we've had so many happy times here.
Brought it to the national press. It's gone all over Europe. It's what we wanted. It may have been a bit excessive, but it's done the job.
Only 2 people were arrested, but police are now studying videotapes of the violence and say more arrests could follow. Eleanor Ellison and her daughter Alex were caught up in the middle of the violence. Eleanor, if I can turn to you first of all, clearly you suffered injury in this. Tell me exactly what happened to you.
Well, my daughter and I were in the North Stand sort of watching what was going on after the initial pitch invasion, and then a whole group of people came down to the North Goal and started ripping it to bits, which my daughter Alex found very upsetting, and she ran down to try and plead with these people to stop. I could tell that these weren't the sort of people you'd reason with. They were very aggressive, and I went down to try and stop her, and this guy just jumped over the wall and headbutted me before I could react or do anything.
Did you have any idea who he could have been?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, he wasn't an Albion supporter. I've been supporting the club for 20-odd years, and I'd certainly never seen him or many of the others like that before.
Alex, if I can turn to you now, this must have been a terrifying experience for you.
Yeah, I was really upset. Someone coming across and headbutting my mum, and it was so violent, and it's just never happened before. We go week in, week out, and it's just, we usually just go watch the match, and it's really nice, but it's just so frightening. I was really scared and upset.
Eleanor, you've followed the Albion for 28 years. What are your feelings that things have come to this?
Well, it's just a very depressing end to what's been a depressing season, really, and time's running out for the club. I think it's, 24 hours to go before they make the decision about the ground sale and everything, and, it's just, that's the end. There's nothing more to say, really.
Eleanor, Alex, thank you both very much indeed. This is Malcolm Shaw at the Goldstone Ground, handing back to the studio.
Well, at noon tomorrow, Brighton Football Club becomes homeless. Unless there are dramatic developments overnight, the Goldstone Ground will be handed over to property developers. A rescue package involving the former manager Liam Brady has been turned down, and there's fresh doubt tonight over ground sharing proposals with neighbouring Portsmouth.
Brighton's chief executive David Bellotti restated the club's position. They are still negotiating with Chartwell, the owners of the Goldstone Ground, to stay for one more season. They have until noon tomorrow to strike a deal. Should they fail to do so, the club intend to play at Portsmouth. However, the Football League have made it clear that they will only allow this if guarantees are in place to ensure the club returns to Brighton and Hove within a reasonable timescale. With less than 24 hours to go, these guarantees are not in place despite the efforts of the local council.
What has been an offer for some time for the club, provided they stay at the Goldstone Ground, was to work with the local councils, with the local community, to find an environmentally acceptable solution for the long term for Brighton and Hove Albion. There is clear commitment from both Brighton and Hove councils to retain professional football with Brighton and Hove Albion. What we need is the club's owners to be a party to that partnership.
That said, David Bellotti has told us Brighton and Hove Albion will continue as a football club. Of that, there is no doubt.
I and my colleagues in the consortium are prepared to come on board to relaunch the club. I am prepared, as are my colleagues, to put substantial money into the club.
But Brady and his team will only get involved if Brighton stay at the Goldstone Ground, Bill Archer and Greg Stanley's shareholding in the club is restructured, Archer and David Bellotti resign, and the club's books are made available for inspection. Brighton chairman Bill Archer is dismissing this bid as half-baked, saying that the consortium couldn't show where their money was coming from. Whatever plan you look at, there are 2 factors that you can't get away from. The future of Brighton and Hove Albion depends on making a deal with Chartwell and obtaining planning permission for a new stadium. That's been the case from the moment the Goldstone Ground was sold. John Armstrong for Meridian Tonight.
We'll have news of angry scenes at Portsmouth and the rest of the day's sports news later on in the programme.